Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm Dear Darling. Should we see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhollow today, where we'll be relaxing as per usual. You might be like, oh, Dear Darling, what do you think about new Genshin Impact update? Haven't played it yet, so I don't really know. Or you might be like, oh, Dear Darling, what do you think about all the Project Sekai Colourful Stage featuring Hatsune Miku news as they go into the next year? The anniversary, 3rd anniversary, and I'd be like, you know, it's pretty cool. I haven't really seen it in detail though. I don't know. How long can this bit go on? For whatever reason, a lot of the games I play tend to have big updates around the same time. But anyway, hello there everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow, 6:08 PM on Wednesday, September 27th, 2023. I guess today we'll just be carrying on our conversational topics about the holiday, because, you know, as I got to say, I've got to milk it out for as long as possible, and then we start getting into the December months, all the way till December, and then we can start talking about Christmas holidays and things like that, and the hashed repeated topics over and over again. I joke. But yeah, I think the next thing that we basically did on our holiday, the next day, is we went to a national park. This one is one on an island called... It's like Millet, I think. I don't know how to pronounce it. I apologise. Not Croatian, so I don't necessarily know how to say the words, but that's how I think it was pronounced. I don't really remember. But it's not my first national park I've been to in Croatia. It's also not the most famous one, I think. I think the most famous one is definitely Krka. Again, don't know how to pronounce it, but it's pronounced like, it's spelled Krka, which I think I've spoken about before. I must have spoken about national parks before, because that was such a big part of the last time I went to Croatia. We went to Krka, which is basically the waterfall national park. It's known for its incredibly, like, pretty waterfalls. You've maybe seen it on Instagram, maybe seen it on TikTok. It's very popular and very mainstream. You can go swimming in it, and it's just like super pretty. We didn't go swimming in it. We just walked about it, to be perfectly honest. But it was very, very cool from what I saw. Lots of lovely water features. But honestly, I actually quite like Pleat Beach more, I think. Oh, you got a new nickname? I think it's been a while since we got a new nickname. Subscriber. You're my subscriber. Quaffing over line. Yeah, but Pleat Beach is the other. I think it's the biggest one in Croatia. So maybe it is more famous. I don't necessarily know. I don't know about the levels of notoriety. That's not how you say that word, but notoriety of the Croatian national parks. But they're all absolutely gorgeous. Croatia is a very, very pretty country. But anyway, we went to one called Millet. I think it's spelled like MJLET or something like that. I honestly can't remember off the top of my head. But I will say, it was one of the most inconvenient places to actually get to. Like, obviously, it's inconvenient because it's an island. And I don't mean that in a disparaging way, because I mean, like, islands obviously set special considerations. Probably must be accounted for. Because it's not like islands are just, like, super easy to get to. But, like... the place we were going, like, I think there must be multiple entrances, but the way we had to do it is we had to go to, instead of going to, I can't remember why exactly, there was a justification we had, but I honestly cannot remember where off the top of my head, because it's something that we were discussing basically the night before. But it's like you had to take a ferry, like a boat ferry from the court, that's not the right word, but the port in Dubrovnik, to actually get there. Well, we don't need that star fragment to actually get there in the first place. And it's like a bus ferry which goes to a load of different cities or other ports of that island. And one of them is like the one where you're meant to go to, which is like the closest one to like one of the entrances or something. But it's also the one which is pretty far from a lake. And we was like, okay, we want to go to a lake. It's kind of like one of the big features, I think, of this national park, without having to go on like a huge hike necessarily, because not everyone's up for a massive hike, which is fair enough. But people do want to appreciate nature. So we had to instead go to a different port. I think it was called like Sobra is the one we went to. The one you're meant to go to starts with like P or J. I can't remember. That's like the one that most tourists normally go to. So much so that the person that we were buying the tickets from was like, are you sure you don't want to go to the other one? And we were like, yeah, we're sure. Because we had to go to Sobra to take a taxi to go to the nearest, that entrance, to be able to go, you know, take a boat to the lake, like sort of area. The taxi was kind of expensive. There were 11 of us, though. So it was €100, which is 100 euros one way, so 200 euros in total, which, you know, divided over 11 is not that bad, but it is, you know, it was like a lot, I suppose. at once. But it was a bit strange having to take a boat and then a taxi, and then we'd have to take a catamaran, I suppose, to actually get to like that island place in the middle, which is I assume one of the bigger parts of wait, have I talked to? I don't think I've talked to Katarina yet. Is it Katrina or Katarina? Katrina, yeah, right. Katarina, I'm thinking League of Legends. Yeah, Katrina. Oh, wait, I did? Literally, I had no recollection of it. I thought I just talked to Cornman and that was it, but apparently I did talk to you, Katrina. Amber Waves. Yeah, so we had to take, like, you know, the ferry to actually get there, and then we had to take a taxi to the actual entrance. And then from the entrance, it's fine, you know, you take a catamaran, because there's a lake on the island, you know, it's an island, there's a lake in it, and then in the middle of that lake, there's another island, and on that island is like a restaurant where you go to have food. Is it the most amazing food I ever had? No, not really. I don't think it was particularly stupendous or anything, but it was nice. It was fine. And, you know, I think the novelty of having food, I suppose, on a restaurant, which is so secluded, sort of triumphed the fact that maybe the food wasn't like the best food we could ever have. I think the first time I went to the national parks, I think we just like brought food, and we went to like an Aldi before, the day before. We made like sandwiches to bring, from what I recall. But we were on a hike then, so, you know, we were much more pressed for time. And then we were like walked around that island for a bit as we waited for the other catamaran backwards, back to the main national park, and then we had a walk around the place. No, hold on. We walked to a small area, and then we like dived into water and like had a bit of a swim, and then after that we, you know, walked back to get the ferry. You might be like, that doesn't sound like you did all that much. Well, I mean, we spent a lot of time doing this stuff. We're enjoying ourselves as much. We're leisurely appreciating nature rather than necessarily going on a hike. And maybe you weren't even thinking about, or in which case I'm just putting words into your mouth, which is fair enough. It's not fair enough. It's fair enough that this is just a strawman. No, an assumption I'm making, but the thing that was very strange, I think, about this place is how infrequently the ferry was. There was like 3 ferries in total, I think, to the place. There was like one in the morning, which we had to catch. We were like woke up at, I don't even remember what time we woke up to get it, but I think it departed around 8 or 9 or something like that. And it was relatively early, which is why I was just like, most of, you know, not everyone wants to wake up super early on holiday. Fair enough. But it was an early departure, I suppose, to actually go there. But then there was only like 2 other ferries, like from that point onwards, which would ever reach the island and leave the island. One which was like at 1 p.m. or like 12 p.m. or something. It was at like lunchtime. And then the other one was the one we caught, which was I think at like 4:30 or something, which is like insane to me. That I guess it's not the craziest thing. I'm not expecting like huge amounts of foot traffic going to the island and back from the island over and over again, but it's hard to get a lot of timing in, seeing as the fact that we needed, like, you know, we arrived at like, I don't even remember what time we arrived, but maybe I can see, hold on, let's see when this photo was taken. At 10 a.m. We arrived at like 10 a.m. Because we, you know, we took a boat, which I assume like took 45 minutes. I don't remember. When did I take this picture? At 9 a.m. Oh, plus GMT2. Okay, hold on. The timings are different. Ah, no. The times are different. Whatever. Basically, we had, I think the ferry journey was like 40 minutes, and then we had a taxi ride, which took another like 45 minutes or something just to get to the entrance of the park. And then, you know, 10 a.m. and we had, you know, we were over Catamaran. It's called, is it Catamaran or Catamaran? It might be called Catamaran now I think about it. Catamaran. Sorry, I'm not that knowledgeable about boats. And we were over Catamaran to go have lunch, which, you know, like, lunch takes like an hour and a bit or whatever, and then it's already like 12 or something. So then I can't remember what the time we left. What is that? Let me see if I can find the ferry, because it's basically, the timings were a lot tighter than you might expect. Is it? This is when we're waiting for ferry, right? Yeah, that looks right. When was this taken? At 4 p.m. So it was like at 4:30ish, a bit after 4:30. So really it was only like, I mean, I guess now I'm saying it out loud, it was like the time we had in the park was like 6 hours or something. I don't know. I guess this is my efficiency-minded brain again, being like, what? We only had 6 hours in the park? That's nothing. Seeing as that, like, a few hours of that is like transportation of itself and, you know, eating lunch. I guess we still have like a few 4 hours or something of, you know, swimming and walking. Is that right? That sounds crazy. Did we actually have that much time swimming and walking? Maybe we did. I didn't really think about that. Got a lot of videos here. So this is us leaving the restaurant thing about 2 p.m. Okay, so we had about 2.5 hours, I think. But to be fair, we spent like some time on that mini island in the first place. Okay. Anyway, but the long and short of what I'm saying is like it feels crazy that those are the only ferry timings. I would have thought there'd be one in the morning and one like much later in the evening. I'm not saying that people and, you know, these people are lazy, they should be working these extreme hours or something, but I'm surprised it's not like a day shift and like a night shift. You're like, oh, you know, the daytime driver, you know, sets out in the morning, does his round trip and he comes back, and then the nighttime driver, evening driver sets out in the evening and she does a trip and comes back or something like that. I don't know. And it's very entitled what I'm saying, I suppose. Is I didn't mean to phrase that way, but it just sort of surprised me. I was like, wow, there's really not many ferries to this island, which I guess in my mind I was like, it must be like it's a national park, it must be super popular. But I guess it's not everyone wants to go to necessarily a national park all these times. So probably the demand for the transportation is not nearly as high as I thought it should be. Whether it should be or not, I suppose, is not really for me to decide as much as, you know, just demand via the public in the first place. But still, I think we had a nice time swimming about, relaxing, and we had a nice walk as well afterwards. Didn't get to see as many cool animals as perhaps we'd have loved to see, but I also wasn't like looking out or too intently. I think one of my friends, they saw a crab, of course lots of fish. I don't know what other like really cool animals were spotted, and I did see a lizard, a couple of cool lizards, but it was a nice time, you know, relaxing on the national park island. It's just like the infrequency of the ferries has kind of surprised me. I think logistically, because I don't know, in my mind I'm just like, national parks are really cool. Why? They would be super popular. I mean, I guess it's because I went to Pleatwich and Crooker, which are probably much more accessible because, I mean, they're not islands for one. And two, they're the more popular ones, I suppose. So people very much want to go there. They're like, so much so that they had bus routes directly there. Like, that's how we went to Pleatwich. Despite the fact we were basically on the south coast near Zadar, we took like a coach from Zadar to Pleatwich National Park. I can't remember how long it took off the top of my head, but that's all I remember. You know, there was a much more direct sort of line to them in the first place. Well, I don't know. I guess it just felt a bit strange taking a ferry, then taking a taxi, then taking another boat, despite the fact the other boat was just like for the restaurant. But still, it was pretty cool, I think, being like on the island, in a lake on an island. If only that island itself had like a little pond or a little lake inside of it, so then you could be inside that lake on a lake on an island, a lake on an island. Just be sort of like next level. I know that exists somewhere. There's like some popular place which is like, oh, you know, in this lake there's an island, and on that island there's another lake, and on that lake there's an island. There's like a name for it, isn't there? Hold on. Island on a lake on an island on a lake. Recursive islands and lakes. Is that it? Island and lakes. Do you think one of them Croatia is here? Ah, it is actually there. Miljet. Mljet. Sveta Mariha. Island and lakes on islands. Is that? Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think that's the one we want. Whoa. Google's 25th birthday. Happy birthday, Google. I'm just trying to find it. Millet. Is that it? Yeah, that's the island we were on, I'm pretty sure. That looks right. I think so, because I think there was a restaurant on here. There was also a church, I do remember that. I assume it's Saint Maria, which is what it is. And yeah, we went to this restaurant Melita. How was it? Fine. It wasn't like amazing. I remember I had a scampi burrata, and the soup in that burrata was delicious. It was actually one of the best tasting soups I've had, probably. Melita's Croatian for honey. There you go. It's the only restaurant on St Mary's Island. Only one of two restaurants at Millet National Park. You can only reach the island by ferry. Restaurants of lakefront. They came out with a small serve of tuna, mousse, and bread. Oh yeah. I don't know what is going on with this review. Oh yeah, I actually forgot they gave us like a little appetizer thing. This review seems to suggest that it wasn't free. I thought it was free. Maybe it wasn't. I don't really know. I wasn't one who paid for it. But all I remember from it was the fact that. I mean, I don't see it charged on the receipt. So unless it was added in like as a tax thing or something, or maybe this is an old review. When was this review? 2 months ago? I guess there were a lot of us, so maybe they probably waived that fee for us. I know in large groups people tend to waive the cover charge and that sort of thing, because I mean we're such a large group, we're generating a lot of money, I suppose, in that case anyway. Means the sauce was delicious, yes. The scampi basara looked amazing and the sauce was delicious. This person knows where it's at. The sauce was absolutely delicious. I was like, this is one of the most delicious sauces I've ever tasted. I don't know. I didn't think we were charged for bread and tuna things. I mean, it very much is a highly average restaurant, I would say. I don't think it was. I mean, there's not much like of a stiff competition, but we had a nice time there anyway, I suppose. Anyway, I think our server was very nice. If also ignoring one of my friends at one point, which was very funny. Probably unintentionally so, but yeah, I mean, there's not much competition there, to be honest, and it's pretty cool. I think the novelty of it is interesting. I think I spoke about this before, but the novelty of dining experiences appeals to me a lot more than food sometimes. But yeah, I don't know. And also catamaran. It's a word like I never use. I think that's what I'm going to title this video actually, because I'm never going to remember this word. It's a special type of ship with 2 parallel hulls of equal size. It's also solar powered, from what I remember, which, you know, is cool to be eco-friendly. I feel like being eco-friendly is very much encouraged in a national park, right? It's kind of like the whole. It's not joie de vivre is not really the right word, but the whole point of national park is preservation of the environment, right? So, you know, why wouldn't you have something environmentally sensitive and friendly like a soda-powered catamaran? Anyway, I guess a catamaran's kind of cool. It makes me think of Tenet. I think I was sailing it, and then like one of the characters tries to unalive another character on it, from what I recall. Anyway, that's spoilers, I suppose, for Tenet, so I'm not going to go any further. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this episode up here. Did I even talk about anything today? Who knows? If you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Day Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, greatly appreciated. Socials down below. I hope we can see each other again, but for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye-bye for now.